to the first episode of the 20th YSA Ward podcast. And our first interviewee, I guess, is our bishop. Okay, before we say anything, tell us your name like no one else knows you if we got to know you for the first time.
Okay, I'm John Carl Hansen.
Okay, tell us more about you.
I said you know my name.
Oh, we want your name.
So I'm a nomad. I grew up moving around all over the West Coast, just staying one step ahead of the FBI. We'd move every 2 years. Born in Tacoma, Washington, and then moved all around Washington, Montana, back to Washington, down to California, over to Utah, down to Texas, Louisiana, and then I'm back up to Utah now.
Oh my goodness. So out of all of those places, which one was your favorite? Because I can imagine that you've seen a lot of really beautiful places.
Washington was really cool, but I was really young when we left up there, so I don't really remember a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember going to a lot of different places, a lot of the forests and up to Victoria and Canada and things like that. So it was cool. Did a lot of traveling growing up. But California was nice because we were around the Central California, San Simeon area. And so it was nice to go to the tide pools and the beach and stuff like that. But Utah, we spent more time in Utah, and so I enjoyed the mountains. Louisiana's a lot of fun because there's crawfish and all the warmth down there, but it's way too humid. Mosquitoes are too big.
Yeah, I was in North Carolina for this summer, and it is hot, like so hot and sweaty. I didn't want to wear anything but a swimming suit like the whole summer. So I understand that for sure.
So it's nice to be back up to the mountains, and if you like the outdoors, Utah's the place to be. There's so many trails for hiking and biking. And
what's your favorite trail?
Trails? I like going up to Powder Mountain and riding the trails up in Powder Mountain.
I haven't done that. Okay, I need to do that.
Yeah. Some beautiful trails up there.
Cool.
We did the El Doce, what's it called? El Doce Loco Doce. We did the 12-hour ride up there.
Oh
so
my
I kept
goodness.
riding around the trails for 12 hours straight. So it was a lot of fun. So I got to know the trails really well in Powder Mountain.
Have you done Ben Lomond?
Oh.
Yeah, Ben Lomond is beautiful. It's one of the hikes that everyone knows about, but everyone should do at least once.
Yes, that's a lot of fun. We'd always take the scouts up to Lewis Peak as well, and then camp out on the top there. And just
Lewis Peak?
Yeah. So instead of going north to Ben Lomond, you go from the North Ogden Divide and go south to Lewis Peak.
Cool.
And you just sit up there and just camp out around the edge of the cliff and watch the city lights all night long.
We should do a ward camp out.
Dude, that would be a lot of fun.
That would be fun. We should do
that.
that.
We just need more outdoor activities.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Just a hiking group. Like
yeah.
Once a week, they get together and just go hike somewhere or whatnot. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good idea. Okay, before we get any further, so tell us what you want this podcast to be, because you're the one that, I guess, God assigned this calling, but you're the one that helped me. You gave this calling to me. So let me know and everyone else know what you want this podcast to become.
I'm hoping this podcast helps bring the ward together as a community. So everybody gets to know each other on a different level than just, hey, how you doing? See each other at church on Sunday or maybe at family home evening.
Yeah.
You just get to know people more as a person. And as people get to know each other and feel more comfortable with each other, then the ward becomes more of a community. And people are more comfortable with coming in. If somebody's, has questions, then they feel more comfortable talking or expressing those questions at church on Sunday. If they think they know everybody in the ward just a little bit differently.
Yeah, I love that so much. So I know I've talked about it before, but I started a podcast with my cousin, Sarah, and what we've learned is that it's really important to create community around it, because we also have an Instagram, and I just think it's cool that we can create a place where everyone, like you said, can ask questions and feel safe, and what better place than the Lord's church? So I definitely agree with that. So I'm going to just ask a bunch of questions, okay? So I know you told us that you traveled around a bit, but when did you meet your wife? Like, tell us more about who you are, and what would you want people to know other than your name, what would you want people to know about you if they didn't know you?
Cool. I left for my mission from Houston. We're living there. My dad moved from Houston to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, while I was on my mission. I came back home from my mission and went up to Salt Lake, where my mom was living. And he told me, well, if you're going to be a lazy bum and just go to Salt Lake Community College and not get a real job, then you're going to come down and go to Louisiana State. So he had sent me an application before I even left my mission as a backup plan. So if I didn't go to school up in Salt Lake, that I was going to go down to LSU. And they had a good computer science program. So I decided, yeah, I'll go. I've never really been down to the South. I don't really count Houston as the South.
Okay.
And so I never really even lived in the South. And so I thought it'd be fun to go down to Louisiana. And they had a good computer science program. So I went down there to go to school. They had an institute program on campus at an institute building. And that's where most of the young adults hung out, is on campus at the institute. And after a couple of years being down there, I was called as the institute president there. And
Cool.
in the stake, the family stakes, they had YSA activities and things like that going. So my wife, Elizabeth, was the stake rep for YSA in the family stakes. So we coordinated a lot of activities and things like that together between all the YSA. They weren't coming to the institute and doing stuff on campus with everything that's happening on campus. So we got to do a lot of stuff together, got to know each other there. And then they formed a student ward, and I was called as the Elders Quorum president for the student ward, and Elizabeth took over as the institute president on campus. So then we still have planned lots of activities together, and then hung out for a little while longer, and then decided we might as well just get married if we're hanging out so much. So
what was the time span for that?
Time span we knew each other for 2 years.
Okay.
Dated for, I don't know, 6 months to 9 months or something like that. I'm probably making up numbers, and Elizabeth will correct you later if she listens to this. But
we'll interview her.
We'll interview her as well. And she can give you all the right answers.
Yes. Her story.
I think we got engaged. I think it was in the November timeframe, and they got married in June. So engaged.
June's a good time.
A little over 6 months or so.
Okay, that's awesome. So we'll stop there for your story for a second. So there's a lot of single people. It's called Singles Ward for a reason. What advice do you have for all of us when we're trying to find our person? Like just dating advice, what would you say?
I would say the biggest thing is just date lots of people.
Mm-hmm.
Get to know lots of personalities. Just
I love
have
that.
fun. And don't be scared and everybody in the ward, don't be scared to ask somebody else out. It's not a commitment. You're not asking them to marry you on the first date. And so just go out and ask people out to have fun. And for people that are getting asked out, just go out and have fun. You're not going out to get married for the first time. So just be willing to go out with people that ask you out. And so don't be scared on either side of it.
I love that because sometimes I go into church and I'm like, why are we all single? We're in a singles ward for a reason. So I think that's amazing. We should all take that advice for sure. Okay, keep on going with your story. So you got married. How many kids do you have?
We got married. We have 3 kids. Jonathan is 22, and he just got married 3 months ago. Mm-hmm. And he lives down in Sunset, Clearfield area now. And he was born while we were still in Louisiana. So he claims Louisiana is his home. So sports teams and all that kind of stuff, it's all the LSU and Louisiana teams. So he claims them. Then we moved out here when he was like 3 months old.
And his name's Jonathan?
Jonathan.
Okay.
Yep. And he goes by Johnny.
Johnny.
So people in high school, there's lots of people in the ward that he went to high school with. So they know him as Johnny. He ran cross country in high school.
Okay, cool.
So with a bunch of people in the ward. So lots of fun. Then our second son is Ethan. He is 19. And he is currently on a service mission here in Ogden. And he serves at the storehouse and the temple and the family history center and loving being on a service mission. So it is a really cool opportunity that everybody has to go on a service mission now.
That's amazing.
So it's expanding more and more.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're thinking about, I don't know if I really want to go on a mission, service missions are a great opportunity to stay at home and just to be, it doesn't require quite as much anxiety going off somewhere else that somebody may feel.
Definitely.
And so it's a good option.
Good way to serve.
And you're still serving the Lord.
Yeah.
It's just as much a full-time mission as a teaching mission is.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're serving the Lord one by one, just as the Lord would. And so it's an exciting opportunity that everybody has. And it's expanding more and more and especially in Ogden. So it's cool. And then I have a daughter named Lily. And she is
she's so
sophomore.
Cute. I met her.
She comes and hangs out at the ward now and again. She's just really glad if she comes to young adult activities and doesn't get asked out. So, at the institute, not the institute, the New Year's Eve party last year, she was so excited. She made it all the way through the night, and then as everybody was leaving, she got asked out.
Oh my goodness!
So she's just a sophomore at Weber, and she loves playing the guitar and hanging out and doing stuff with friends. So
Okay.
she's helping out in the greenhouse. She's getting into the 4-H and mans the greenhouse at Weber High.
Oh, cool.
So yeah.
That's awesome. So what else do you think makes you you? Like, if people didn't know you, what parts of your life, like your interests, your hobbies, what things make you you? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think there's 2 things that I would say make me me.
Okay.
One, that I love people. I want people to just feel that they're loved.
Uh-huh.
And I hope that comes across whenever I'm interacting with people, that I truly do care about them and love them. And then second, that I just like to try new things. I like to push myself to see, and my wife hates it because every year I sign up for something that I have a 50-50 shot that I'm going to fail at. So it's either...
What was this year?
This year was the Spartan
Oh, cool.
Ultra. So the 13-mile run up the Snow Basin's hills and 30 obstacles and to see if I died or not.
And did you die?
No, I didn't. I made it.
Good.
I failed at some obstacles, but I still made it through. Luckily, my son,
Spartan race.
he waited at the top of the hills for me.
Uh-huh.
A fat old man out of shape, and so he would wait at the top of the hills and make sure I didn't die.
That's so amazing, though.
But so yeah, so little things like last year there's a 24-hour race. It's just you do the same loop, 4-mile loop for 24 hours, and see how many miles you can run.
How many miles did you run?
I got 54 miles in
a row.
Well,
how did you stop?
Breaks in between.
Okay, good.
To refill my water bottles, get something to eat, and things like that.
That is
it's just
so cool.
Can I make it 24 hours without giving up?
So you love people, and you love getting to know people, and then you love trying new things. So what advice do you have for people to get outside of their comfort zones? Because I think that's really scary.
It can be. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Advice to get outside your comfort zone is it's okay to be scared, and just reach out and try something new. And it's okay to fail. I think a lot in society, people take too much worry about what other people think. Like, oh, if I fail at this, oh, what are people going to think about me if I fail? And it's fun to watch the ultra running community, and everybody just really relishes in their DNF, their did not finish in a race. Like, you learn more from failing at something and not finishing a race than if everything went okay and you finished. So get outside and just try something new, and it's okay to fail and not be scared what other people are going to think if you did fail at something.
So what is your thing for next year? Like your crazy task that's scary and uncomfortable?
Next year, I still want to do a 100-mile run.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that'll be next year. Or we do like bike relays. We do a lot of biking. I do a lot of triathlons as well, because I figure, why be mediocre at one sport when I can be mediocre at 3 sports?
That's the best.
And so I like to break it up: swim, bike, run, and do a little bit of everything. We started years ago when I've done tons of stuff with Scouts growing up. And one year the Scouts wanted to do the cycling merit badge. So we started the cycling merit badge during the summer, and then you do a 50-mile ride, and we did it around Bear Lake at the end of the summer. And it was just so cool to see Scouts that started the first 5-mile ride we did, getting off their bike and struggling and walking their bike on that first 5-mile ride. And then by the end of the summer, to see them finish a 50-mile bike ride. And during that time, a bunch of the families got involved with those bike rides as well. So after it kind of ended, the Scouts got their merit badge and finished the cycling, all the dads that started riding with us, we just kept riding together. So we have a whole group of fat old guys in spandex that ride bikes around and just love it. And we do all kinds of fun rides. And so they have a ride that's called Salt to Saint, where you ride from Salt Lake City to St. George, Utah.
Oh, cool.
And it's a relay, kind of like Ragnar running on bikes. And so you'll ride 20 miles and then swap out another guy, and then they'll ride 20 miles and swap out. And you just keep relaying down until you get to St. George. It's about 450 miles or so. So on my bucket list is I want to do it solo. I want to ride all the way by myself without the relay.
How long will that take?
Probably 36 hours of straight riding. So
That's insane.
if I'm up to it, maybe next year I'll do that one.
I'll do it with you. I don't think I
need a crew to
could.
somebody to drive the car along.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'll drive the car. That's so crazy. Okay, we'll go transition to the other part that you said. You just love people, and it's just a part. Like in it, it seems like just even talking to you and meeting you for the first time, it's just innate within you. Is there a story in your life that ingrained that inside? Like when you were younger,
I don't know if
or
there's
maybe a
ever.
person?
I would attribute it to my mom.
Mm.
She's just full of service and is always wanting to help out and do things, and always looking for little ways that she can, if it's birthdays or holidays, giving little things to the grandkids and people around her. And so all growing up, she was that same way of just reaching out. So I'd say it's probably just in my genes, and just growing up with her doing those things. And just, we moved around all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved every 2 years growing up. And so I think it's always just, I always had to be comfortable with getting to know new people.
And different cultures and perspectives, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel comfortable just reaching out to new people and talking to them. And so I think it's nice to be able to reach out like that.
With that love for people, how was it being a bishop? I bet you love it.
It's fabulous. There's 160 people in the ward
Yeah.
that I get to meet, and all these new people now. And so it's awesome just to be able to sit down and chat. I feel so bad that it's taken me so long and I haven't even broken the surface of half the people in the ward that I haven't really gotten to know yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel so bad. So that's what we're trying to do, our couch tour. So my goal is to go and visit everybody and sit on their couch.
Came to my couch.
So slowly but surely we'll get around to the ward. So
that's so awesome. So what is your most embarrassing moment?
My most embarrassing moment.
Can you remember?
Let me think.
This is when we actually get to know you.
Get to know
your
me.
Most embarrassing moment.
Probably just a few years ago, having I had cancer.
Oh my goodness!
And had to go in for get some of my colon removed, and I had an ileostomy bag for a little while. So just all the sounds that the ileostomy. So we called him Bert. Just because he'd make sounds all the time when you got part of your intestine sticking out of your stomach.
Oh my goodness!
It always makes sounds, and there'd be times when it would leak and I'd leak poop all over, and so that was kind of embarrassing at times, but you get used to it.
Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that story with us. So, I didn't even know you had cancer. Yeah. When did you have cancer?
So in 2017, I was training for my first Ironman. And so I was just working out a lot. And 3 weeks before the Ironman, a lot of things that probably were symptoms, but I just attributed it to getting ready for a large athletic event. Just had a little bit of blood in my stool, and went to see the doctor. He said, it could be lots of things. We'll send you in for a colonoscopy and see what we find. And lo and behold, there was a 2-centimeter tumor, or 4-centimeter tumor right there in my colon. And so I had to go in for chemo and radiation. And I told him, let's put this off for 3 weeks so I can do the Ironman. Because if I can finish an Ironman, I can beat cancer, right? So,
yeah.
So I did. I went and did the Ironman, finished that, and then started radiation and chemo and all that kind of stuff.
With that whole thing, how did the experience help you come closer to God? Like, what did you learn?
That was probably the biggest thing. Even growing up, younger years, I had a feeling that at some point in time, I would probably have cancer. It was just a thought in my mind. And the reason I thought that is because I'm going to have to go through it. So sometime later on in life, I'll be able to empathize with somebody else that is going through something. And if I went through something, then I can understand what they're going through, and I'll be able to have more empathy for other people. And so I kind of knew it was going to happen at some point.
Wow.
And so when it did happen, the thing that I got the most out of it was that the atonement of Jesus Christ isn't just for repentance of sins. That Christ truly does know exactly what we're going through the thick and thin of life, through the pains and sorrows of mortal life. Christ's been there, and he knew exactly what I was going through. And so I drew more on that knowledge and understanding Christ more through going through cancer than I ever have at any other time in my life.
I'm speechless. I don't have any other questions. Let's see. Look at mine. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's very, I think unless we go through something like that, like we know that he understands like our mental struggles, but he actually experiences our physical struggles too. And that's really amazing. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, he's been through everything. Even it had to put a point in time when he had to be totally alone. He was completely, so everybody who feels loneliness, Christ has been there as well.
So I have one last question for you. And so imagine it's like your last day on earth and you have one message that you could give to your family, your friends. Like, this is what you stood for, like your last message. What do you think that would be?
Just to love everybody.
Simple but true.
Yeah.
I love it. Anything else that you want us to know about you?
No, I don't think anything about me. I'm just excited to
Yay!
on these podcasts.
Yeah,
and to
this was
learn
fun.
so much
Good
about
first one.
people in the war.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Bishop. You're the best.
Oh, thank you.